We are just going to give a few more people coming in. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And how is everybody doing? How was everybody's Wednesday? Hello, hello, hello. Hello. I am not going to be before you long, but I just have a few things that we want to discuss. If you have any questions about anything, good, Kim Marie. Glad to hear it. We are going to be talking about some of our corporate America sisters who are still stuck in those corporate positions, knowing that they need to be moving on and doing something else, right? Hey, Lily777, thank you so much for joining. Deidra, how are you, my friend, my sister? How are you? All right, guys, listen. We're going to go on ahead and get started. I wanted to start on time so that we can get this going on time. One thing that I did want to point out is I really, throughout this whole time that we're together this evening, I just really want you guys to just be honest with yourself. How long have you known, figured out, came to the conclusion that where you are right now isn't where you're supposed to stay? How many of you have finally figured that out? And it has absolutely nothing to do with you hating your job. It's just because, it's something in you that's telling you that you've outgrown the job. You've outgrown where you are. And if I'm honest, it kind of brings back to memory a little bit about the story of Moses, about when he fled Egypt. He ended up in Midian, right? Got him a wife, got him some children. He was tending those sheep. And he was living a good and settled life until all of a sudden, we know the story about the burning bush. And God basically told him, it is time for you to go back to Egypt, which meant that he had to stop living his life in Midian. He had to rebuild whatever it was that he was considering his life to be, because he had not yet stepped into his assignment. And Midian wasn't wrong. And your job may not be wrong, but it is just for a season. It's a preparation place, and it's also a safe place. But it became a problem because he stayed too long. If he had stayed too long, I should say, it would have become a problem for him. And for a lot of you, your current situations may look stable, but that's not your assignment. So here's what I've realized, that a lot of women don't stay stuck in those jobs because they're confused. They stay stuck because they can't fully see why they haven't moved yet. And when you can't see the real reason why, then you keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over and over again. So this evening, y'all, I want to walk y'all through just a few things that I see happening all the time. And if you're honest, you're going to probably see yourself in at least one of these. All right? So reason number one, you keep telling yourself you need more clarity. You're waiting until you feel 100% sure. You're waiting for everything to make sense. But here's the truth. Clarity doesn't come before the decision. It comes after you've made the decision. So what you've really been doing is delaying making a decision. So let's take a look at Genesis chapters 11 and 12. He was Abram because God hadn't changed his name yet, when he was in Ur of the Chaldeans. So Ur was a developed, structured city, probably financially stable. He had his family. There was no chaos. He was quite comfortable. But when you flip over to Genesis chapter 12, that first scripture, God basically tells him, leave your country, your people, your father's household, and go to the land that I will show you. Abraham had to leave. So he wasn't given a plan. He wasn't given a mapped out destination. He wasn't given a timeline. And he definitely wasn't given a step-by-step strategy. He was just basically given instruction to move first. He wasn't given the full plan. He was told to go. And as he went, that's when direction came. The direction came as he moved. So Abraham had to leave security. He had to leave a familiar identity. And he had to leave what made sense before he could step into his promise, expansion, and who he was becoming. And a lot of you are waiting for what Abraham was never given. You're waiting for full clarity before you move. And that wasn't given to Abraham. So saying to yourself, once I'm clear, I'll move. But clarity doesn't come before you move. It comes as you're moving. Clarity isn't there to make you comfortable. It's revealed again as you move, as you take your next step, as you make your next move. Okay? All right, reason number 2, and this is a good one. This is a good one. You don't want to miss this one. You're trying to protect that paycheck. Now, just let me be clear. That's real. It's real for all of us. And guess what? It's also being responsible. But at the same time, it's costing you something. It's costing you energy. It's costing you your peace. And for some of you, it's costing years of your life. And you see, that's the part that nobody wants to talk about. I want you to remember that stewardship, being a good steward over the money, it requires movement. It requires movement, not preservation. Okay? We can even go back and look at the parable of the talents. One multiplied, one expanded, one hid what he had, right? And the one who hid his talents, it wasn't that he was being reckless with hiding it. He was afraid of loss. What you protect out of fear, you eventually lose. Safety is not a stewardship. Multiplication requires movement. The issue wasn't that he didn't have enough. It's that he refused to move what he had. You know, right now your paycheck may feel like protection, but it may actually be the thing keeping you from multiplication. Oh! I'm going to say that again. Your paycheck may feel like protection, but it may actually be the thing keeping you from multiplication. All right, third reason. You've built an identity around being the dependable one. You're the one who figures it out. You're the one who shows up. You're the one who holds everything together. So now making a move just doesn't feel risky. It feels like you're breaking the version of you that everybody knows, who you've been known as. Let that sit for a minute. And y'all, that is a different kind of fear altogether. But for a moment, let's think about Peter the Apostle. He had an identity as a fisherman, consistent, predictable, stable. But when he was called, he had to leave what he knew to become who he was meant to be. So you cannot step into a new assignment while holding on to an old identity. Again, you cannot step into a new assignment while holding on to an old identity. So Peter could not stay a fisherman and become who he was called to be at the same time. It doesn't work. So you're not stuck because you don't know what to do. You're stuck because doing it would require becoming someone different. Everybody wants change in their situation, but they don't want to change. Again, we all want change in our situation, but we don't want to change. Let's think about that for a minute. Y'all, this live wasn't just about me trying to convince you to leave your job. That is not what this is. This is not about leaving a job. This is about transformation. Because every time God calls you forward, it's not that he's just changing the situation. He's changing who we are in the process. So this is really more about becoming the version of you that can actually handle what's next. You can't handle what's next without first making that transformation on the inside. Because if you don't shift who you are, what's going to end up happening is you're going to recreate the same situation in a different environment. Again, you're going to recreate the same situation in a different environment. And then people want to know why things don't change. They want to know why stuff just keeps going over and over and over and over again. Why you keep going around the same mulberry bush all the time, but never moving forward. You have to change what's going on here. Okie dokie. So, I just touched on 3. There are 5 that I really can go into a lot of detail about. Because, some of those are obvious. Some of them are hidden. So each one has absolutely nothing to do with your capability, but it has everything to do with transformation. Because again, when God calls you forward, it's not just changing where you are, but it's changing who you are becoming. So I want you guys to keep hold of that. What I'm trying to do is we're putting together a webinar, and the webinar is called The Next Move Breakthrough. The Next Move Breakthrough. It's going to be coming. We're still working it out because we want to be able to give you value. We want to be able to help you make that transformation. We want to be able to give you strategic instructions, a strategical plan as to how to move and to navigate this thing we call corporate America, right? So I want you guys to just hold, because it's coming, and we're going to break down all 5 of those reasons. You're going to be able to know and to see exactly where you fit in, so that you can finally see what's been holding you in that place where you're not supposed to be. Holding you in that place that if it hadn't been for fear gripping you, you would have made that move a long time ago. But we're going to help you get there. All right? Because one thing is for certain, once you see what it is, it's kind of hard to not see it anymore. Once you see things clearly, then you can finally do something about it. But before I leave, I want to kind of give you guys this little golden nugget here. If nothing changes, don't grip you fear. All right. If nothing changes, where will you be this time next year? If nothing changes, where will you be next year? Same job, same feeling, same questions. Or will you have been able to finally move in the direction where you know you're supposed to go? Right? Think about that. So, we want to make sure that we're making good decisions, that we're making the right decisions, that we're moving forward. And we're going to be giving you guys more information about that webinar. And it is going to be coming soon. So we're going to talk with you guys more about that. But for now, I just want you to kind of sit with that. Kind of mull over it. Because guess what? We're going to get you from point A to point B. And I want you all to know that it can be done. I'm a living witness. I've done it. So it can be done. So guys, thank you so much just for, taking your time out, joining me. I know it's been a long day. Everybody's tired. I'm tired. But we're here. So thank y'all so much. I'm going to see you all again next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. So bye.